by Saudi Arabia and over in that area. So I'm thinking that with this, what's going on in the Gulf of Aden, basically there has to be something involving dolphins and possibly other sea animals like whales. But I'm just curious, has there been any information about how about the dolphins in that area or anything else?
The only information that I have for a fact, which is public information, is that dolphins are being used in all the waters around the Middle East for reconnaissance missions. They actually have dolphins that are trained that have actual surveillance equipment that are attached to them for looking for underwater mines, looking for bombs under piers, even under ships, oil rigs, and even information gathering. They have dolphins that are set up with certain information sound recording equipment that actually can record sound on land that travels via through the water, because sound travels at a much greater distance and can keep its real concentrated frequency much longer underwater than it can in open air. Do I have any information that dolphins are specifically being used in the Gulf of Aden for whatever intents and purposes with this Stargate? No, I don't. But based on my direct work with dolphins, with Project Seagate, I would not be surprised, because dolphins have been discovered because of their frequencies, because of other abilities that dolphins have that people are not aware of. They discovered a while ago, however long, at least I know for at least 20 or maybe even 30 years, that dolphins directly have, because of their frequency, because of what they can do, are almost used as a medium for travel via the Seagate.
What do you mean by that? Travel? Are you talking about time travel?
I'm talking about not just time travel. I'm talking about traveling to other locations in the universe.
Okay, and how are dolphins used in that regard?
It was found that, with the Seagate, everything is done, frequencies which are used, which they found, frequencies are used to actually put you on the molecular level in a different state. This way your body can actually handle traveling great distances.
Okay, I know what you mean. You mean, in other words, if humans are put in contact with dolphins and do what's called in training,
yes,
they get aligned on the same frequency as a dolphin, and that heightens the human awareness, such
Absolutely.
that if you then, I'm just, I'm extrapolating here, but because I've swam with dolphins and I know this happened to me, I'm guessing that's kind of what you mean.
You're absolutely, you're on the right track. Yes, one of the things that they did that I was a part of was called, let me remember what it was, psychic echolocation. What's the word I'm looking for? This always happens when I start talking about this. I'm sorry. Sometimes my mind goes blank. What they discovered, and it can't just be any human. It has to be people that have received certain training, mainly people that have some amount of psychic ability. They've learned that they could put a person in with these dolphins, and actually it would cause deep molecular and psychic vibrations to happen, where the dolphin is almost used, it is used as a medium, and this person becomes a conductor, and they coexist in this way, so that it really heightens the senses of the psyche of a person.
Right. And so then what would happen? I mean, what would be? I mean, this is, I guess we're kind of going off into the area of speculation. Although it occurs to me that perhaps this is part of your buried memories.
This is the subject that I myself have been working the most intensely on. The whole thing with the Gulf of Aden just kind of fell into my lap through the people I know, and then taking it back to the false flag operations that I helped orchestrate from July of 2008 till the beginning of March of 2009. Also meeting individuals that were black ops that had been really, in a way, blackmailed to be in this country to do false flag operations, specifically military personnel from other countries that were of Middle Eastern descent. They didn't care if they were, if their family had originally come from Iraq or Pakistan or India. It didn't matter. As long as they had the training.
And they looked the part.
And they looked the part.
Is the point. Okay.
Yes.
So you were involved in these so-called false flag operations. Can you describe a false flag operation that you were a part of?
Yes, I can. Okay. Well, one of the false flag operations was where the 5,000 pounds of C4 mysteriously disappeared from a munitions train heading to Camp Pendleton. After that, Twin Palms police force started working with the Marine Corps. A bunch of military vehicles, specifically Humvees, from their motor pool were being taken, but were not being signed out. But then when certain individuals were even asking, even when I asked about it, don't question this, And Twin Palms was doing random DUI checks. Now, if people know this, the military are not allowed to do in-country security checkpoints, DUI checkpoints, anything involved with the police. That's what the police are for. When that begins to happen, that is a preemptive strike to implement police state nationwide. Absolutely. Then there were even a bigger military presence that was happening, of all places, in Pasadena. This doesn't surprise me because Pasadena is really a trifecta of some very deep military operations. Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, Parsons Corporation. I encourage people who are going to see this, look into the history of the Parsons Corporation in Pasadena, and you will be disgusted with what they have been a part of, especially recently with putting up certain kinds of hospitals in Iraq. And then, of course, I can really get into things that like Jordan Maxwell and I have talked about as far as the OTO, which, the headquarters of the OTO in North America is in Pasadena.
Right.
So where I live in Pasadena, I'm surrounded by some very awful things.
So we're talking about a hotbed of the Illuminati, but we're also talking about a military presence.
Yes, in fact, specifically I want to say it was December 28th, if I'm completely accurate, December 28th of 2008, there was a big military movement that happened straight downtown Pasadena. Hundreds of people witnessed it. Never made the news. It was a convoy of about 24 vehicles. We're talking Humvees, armored personnel carrier, chemical trucks, tankers, deuce and halves, which are the big, huge trucks you usually see with the canopies over them. They were all white. They were, what I have been a part of, they were absolute UN vehicles.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like UN.
But they didn't have UN marked on them. They didn't even have license plates.
I see.
They moved through Pasadena and moved to a different location. On that same day, I was in Pasadena with a team of plainclothes, not just local police, but Marine Corps, armed, walking the streets, in communication with everybody else while this was happening. It was not necessarily a false flag operation. More often than not is a terrorist attack, like 9/11.
So what was going on with the white caravan was more of a preparation?
It was
Is
a
that
false
the idea?
flag training operation.
I see.
In preparation for an actual false flag. Because even, you have war games. The military does war games. What are war games? War games are training for actual war. Well, this is kind of a war game, but it's a false flag game training operation.
Okay, and
drill.
when we say false flag, what we're talking about is something where a terrorist event will happen where actually the terrorist is actually working for, and the operation, it is an op, and it is conducted by, in essence, the in-country personnel. In other words,
Oh, yes.
the United States, the government, the agencies, or the black government, the black
Absolutely.
secret projects.
And, yes, that's the biggest thing that people need to understand. When it's a false flag operation that happens in country, the people that are in charge of the black operations that happen with that country, they're the ones who have orchestrated it. The bombings that happened in the subways in England, that was a England false flag operation. The bombings that happened in Spain,
Right. What about that?
false flag.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because it's all related to what? Taliban and Al-Qaeda. What's truly Taliban and Al-Qaeda? It is a network to allow false flag operations to happen. You had mentioned about, the people that are used are aware of it. People have to understand that more often than not, the people that are used have been mind controlled. They have been taken, they have been mind controlled, and they're doing it because they are under another state of mind. The one that happened on Christmas Day, he says that, he had, all of a sudden, there was reports that he was almost in a trance when it occurred, and afterward, and that he has no recollection.
Who are you talking about?
The gentleman, I don't remember his name, the actual person, the underwear bomber, as they're labeling him.
Oh, okay, yes.
There was reports that he was in a trance. There's even a person that's come out now, a husband and wife that were on the plane.
Sure.
They were on the news saying that they had contacted the FBI because this tall, well-dressed, wealthy-looking man of Indian or descent had taken this kid, and actually they witnessed him saying he doesn't have a passport, but he's from, I think it was Nigeria, and we do this all the time there. Yeah, they actually quote, "We do this all the time there," and they let him through.
Okay.
People need to be aware that that's happening and need to question why.
Okay, so but you yourself, you're saying over a year ago you saw convoys and so on going on here in California, like a buildup of military even here. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
There's been a huge buildup of military in Southern California.
Do you have any idea why?
There's a lot of military bases in California. California is very much a key region for military movement. I myself have been to 2 underground bases in California. One that's in the San Diego area, and another one that's in the San Francisco Bay, which is known as a munitions naval weapon base that has a skeleton crew. Probably a lot of people don't know about it. It is located in the San Francisco Bay Area, and all you can see from the water are 3 very large U-shaped piers where trains can go on. There's a lot more to that base than what people see. I mean, they have a huge facility under it. It's massive.
Okay, and have you been there, or were you told about this?
No, I've been there.
Oh, okay.
I was there. I
Okay.
was there in 2000, 2001, and then in the first part 2002 before I went to become part of the project in the Caribbean.
Okay. Okay, so I guess what I want to do here is just make sure that we've gotten the information that you wanted to get out there specifically, around the Gulf of Aden.
Okay, so just to clarify why I was coming out right now, I couldn't, you and I spoke, this had to get out now because time is of the essence. False flag operations are becoming are going to be happening more, not just in the United States, but in other countries that are having direct involvement with the Gulf of Aden and Yemen. I will not be surprised if we will see some more bombings or terrorist attacks happen in places like in Yemen itself. It's going to happen in Yemen because they need that to get the masses to support what they're doing so that there isn't questioning. There's going to be more false flag operations happening.